In this video, I'm going to show you the polyfill of bind method. So polyfill is just a piece of code that is used to provide functionality to newer versions. So in ES6 bind method is given, but in older versions of ES like ES5 and older versions, the functionality bind is not given. So here I'm going to write the polyfill of bind. Now, why do we use bind? So here, if I want to make a customized function that every time I call that function, the context of this function should point to this particular object. So let's just say I'm going to write a function, new function, and I will bind it in such a way that every time the function is called, it should point to this object. So I'm going to dot build my own polyfill, and then I'm going to apply it. Now I'm going to add this my bind in the prototype of function. So let's just say here function prototype dot my bind, then I'm going to function that would be object, and then this should be the arguments. So it's just say if I want to add, let's just say I like dosa and chutney, so this chutney should point to this temp. And then now here this function my bind is called by this fave, so I need to store the context of this particular function. So the context of this function would be stored here in this variable context, and then I'm going to return a function. Now here this new function can be called as new function normally without any arguments, or it can be called with other arguments as well, like burger, and I can add another argument over here. Let's just say temp2. Then this temp2 would, this burger would store in this particular temp2. So this that are these arguments would be stored over here. So I'm going to spread the arguments if there are suppose bunch of arguments. Now I'm going to return this context, and then I'm going to use apply method, and this the context would be the object, and I'm going to just spread all the arguments. So these are new arguments. And then I'm going to and now new arguments are being stored. Now the functionality is done, and now I would just print them. So let's just say now this should do the job. Now I would just run it. All right, the function, it is showing that function is not defined. Okay, this should go up. I think now it should work. All right, again it is showing an error. Okay, so here I haven't defined the arguments. Now this should do the job. Okay, my favorite food is dosa and chutney and undefined, because for the first time we didn't send any sort of argument over here. So that's going to make it undefined. So new arguments would be null, undefined, and that's why temp2 would be undefined. And the second I sent the burger, so it showed the value of temp2 is burger.